Hello and welcome to the Evening News for today, Friday, September 12, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Sanjay's jewellery owner charged. Ramsaran says GPHC must give satisfaction to patients as probe into recent maternal death deepens. Granger says President Ramotar must tell the nation the truth about local government elections. Housing Ministry pulls off another mega one-stop shop and Grow More Food campaign to be re-engineered. Now for the news in detail. We start off by telling you that Bishnarain Prasad, the proprietor of Sanjay's Jewellery of Lot 26 Sheriff Street, was today charged for causing the death of Leon Hunt, a handyman attached to the Georgetown Mayor and City Council. Details in this report. Hunt died in a motor vehicle accident on Wednesday evening along Lamaha Street. The 39-year-old businessman Bishnarain Prasad, the proprietor of Sanjay's Jewellery, was granted bail in the sum of $1.5 million when he appeared before Magistrate Judy Latchman at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. He pleaded not guilty to the charge after the Administration of Justice Act was applied. The charge stated that on September 10 at Lamaha Street, he drove motorcar PKK 5501 in a manner dangerous to the public, causing the death of Leon Hunt. The businessman was represented by attorney at law Glenn Hanuman, who told the court that his client was temporarily discharged from the hospital to facilitate an investigation into the fatal accident. He claimed that as soon as his client was discharged, he presented himself to the Kitty police station where he was interrogated. Bail was initially set at $2 million but was reduced to $1.5 million by Magistrate Latchman after a plea by the defendant's lawyer. He argued that Prasad had a huge hospital bill to pay as well as he's assisting with the funeral expenses for the deceased. This newscast understands that about 23 hours 15 on the day in question, Prasad was proceeding east along Lamaha Street at a fast rate of speed when he collided with Hunt, a pedal cyclist who was proceeding in the said direction. Investigations proved that a now dead man was struck from behind and as a result, he was flung some distance before landing on the roadway. Health Minister Dr. Barry Ramsaran says the Georgetown Public Hospital must give more satisfaction to patients during time of distress. He was at the time commenting on the recent maternal death that has rocked the hospital. Evita Singh, aged 34, of Lot 13 Lathan Street, Better Hope, East Coast, Demerara, died during childbirth on Saturday last. According to reports, the mother of two was taken to the hospital 2 Mondays ago after she experienced high fever. Up to Friday, officials were still probing the death of the woman and her child. A post-mortem examination revealed that the woman bled to death due to a ruptured uterus. On Wednesday, Health Minister Dr. Barry Ramsaran said that he was aware of the incident and has instructed the Chief Executive Officer Michael Khan and the Chief Medical Officer Shamdeo Prasad to investigate the matter to find out the circumstances behind the two deaths. The minister has requested the copies of the statements given by the doctors and nurses who attended to Singh from the time she was admitted to the time of her death. The minister also lashed out to the administration of the GPHC when it comes to patients' satisfaction, claiming that he has received numerous reports that relatives were not being given the opportunity to meet doctors and hospital officials when they needed answers. This, he noted, has to be corrected, and as such he has instructed the Chief Executive Officer to look into the matter. He referred to the situation with respect to patient satisfaction as unacceptable. According to the woman's father in a telephone interview, the post-mortem was performed by Dr. Nihal Singh, who gave the cause of death as shock and hemorrhage due to a ruptured uterus. The relatives are holding out that if doctors had performed a caesarean section on the woman from the inception, both lives could have been saved. In the courts, 20-year-old Shirley-Ann Hope of Lot 22 Lagrange, West Bank, Demerara, was today placed on $200,000 bail for 2 offences. Hope was charged with fraudulent conversion and simple larceny. She appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before the Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarain Bihari. Her allegation read that on August 1, she, being solely entrusted with 4 Samsung Galaxy cell phones to sell and return the money, fraudulently converted the said articles to her own use and benefits. It was also alleged that on the same day, she stole 10 pennyweights of raw gold belonging to Dexter Forrester. Hope pleaded not guilty to both charges. She was granted $100,000 bail on each charge and is expected to return to court on October 13. Leader of a Partnership for National Unity, David Granger, says that President Donald Ramotar has a responsibility to tell the nation the truth about local government elections. Here's Alexis Rodney with the details.
Granger at the party's weekly press conference on Friday said that the People's Progressive Party Civic Administration holds no prerogative to deny the Guyanese people their constitutional right to local democracy. Local government elections, like general and regional elections, are a constitutional right, Granger emphasized. He said that the President and the People's Progressive Party, by deliberately delaying the holding of the elections, are in gross violation of the Constitution and the law. Local government elections was last held in Guyana some 20 years ago. Disgusted by the situation, their Partnership for National Unity, through its leader David Granger, has given government until Monday, September 15, for it to declare a date for the elections to be held across the country. Bisham Mohammed, Evening News.
Meanwhile, President Donald Ramotar says that the opposition leader David Granger needs to clarify the contents of his recent letter, as it is ambiguous and contradictory to several utterances being made in the media. Svetlana Marshall reports.
President Donald Ramotar today issued a formal response to a letter sent to him by leader of the opposition David Granger, demanding that a date be set for the holding of local government elections by Monday, September 15, 2014. In the letter, the president told the opposition leader that the People's Progressive Party civic government is known for upholding the Constitution. Hence, there is no need for a reminder. This government, he said, has always defended, advocated and promoted constitutionality, the rule of law and democracy at every level. Though acknowledging Granger's views as important, the president in his letter sought greater clarification, noting that only after such is given, a proper response would be issued. The opposition leader on Tuesday, September 9, called on the president to issue the commencement order to operationalize the Local Government Commission and to initiate a process by which the Local Government Amendment Bill could be returned for assent.
Top executives of the Tate and Lyle Sugar Company on Thursday met with President Donald Ramotar at his office. The team of officials, which included Regional Technical Director Colin Turner and Social Responsibility Specialist Raphael Vaya, was led by Senior Vice President Simon Gibbons. Speaking to the Government Information Agency, Gibbons said the discussions focused on the long-term relationship between Guyana and the company. It also explained that Lyle and Tate and Lyle has a very good relationship with the Guyana Sugar Corporation, and the team, which is here on a one-week visit, has been meeting with stakeholders and major players in the sugar industry. The team also visited the Skeldon Sugar Factory, and according to Gibbons, the factory is being turned around in terms of its performance and its faults being rectified. If you have a news tip or news story you'd like our news team to follow, message or WhatsApp us on telephone numbers 680-9630, 600-3117 or 617-2867. You can also call the office on telephone numbers 231-0382, 226-2102, 223-7230 or 223-7231. More news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. The Central Housing and Planning Authority today hosted yet another successful one-stop shop at the National Stadium, Providence. The details in this report.
Hundreds of persons flocked National Stadium on Friday as the Housing Ministry hosted another one-stop shop. At the event, persons were able to acquire lands to build a home in Phase 3 of the Providence Housing Scheme. Over 1,100 house lots were made available to persons who would have had pending applications at the Housing Ministry. Housing Minister Irfan Ali said that the lots were being offered at a heavily reduced price. He cautioned persons not to sell or lease the house lots, since in a few years the area would develop significantly.
Ensure you stick to the rules. Don't get carried away with people who would come to you to offer you money for these lands. From the time people know that you're the owner of a land in that vicinity, they will offer you a lot of money for the land. This will be illegal, and you will not be entitled to another piece of land. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the value of that land is going to appreciate tremendously within the next 4 to 5 years. So you'll be losing out on that value that you're going to accumulate. Don't be lured into any offer that seems rewarding now.
This newscast spoke to several of the applicants who expressed joy at the opportunity of owning their own land.
When I got the call like 1 week ago, and they sent me the letter and they said that to come in, and when I go in they tell me everything and to come in, I feel away. And also I saw the plan and I went to check where it is, and it is a very nice area and I feel very happy about it. So I'm really happy that I received what I wanted.
So Terence, now that you're going to pay for your land to get your own home and soon start building, how are you feeling right now?
We're really excited because this is something new to us, so we're really excited and we can't wait to start, get the process over with and get the land and start building.
I see you're here with your wife and your son.
We're missing one baby as well. We got two sons.
Okay, so how soon are you going to start building on this new land? Do you like the area too?
Yeah, we love the area. Yeah, I'd probably within 3 months we start building right away. So
3 months.
Yeah.
And I know
once you could build on the land right away, we start right away. Yeah, once the infrastructure is good enough.
I like the area a lot, and the price is good comparing to the private sector. The price is there. This price is very good.
So would you like to see more of these one-stop shops being organized by the ministry?
Yes, they should have more.
For the Evening News, Jumo Paul.
As investigations into a scam at the Central Housing and Planning Authority continue, Housing and Water Minister Irfan Ali today promised to forgive and forget persons who came forward with information.
Housing Minister Irfan Ali today said that thus far 49 persons have been identified in a scam at the Housing Ministry. The scam saw persons alleging that they are relatives and associates of Housing Ministry personnel, including Minister Ali. Some even operated as staff of the ministry, taking persons to various housing areas and identifying plots of land that are supposedly available to them.
There are some persons who we are investigating who would have tried to pay their way for expediting their application. We have those names. We have 49 persons on the investigation. If any of you here would have any way tried to fast track any application, and in so doing did anything that is illegal in the delivery of a service by the ministry, I'm asking you to give that information to the staff this morning because we will get it.
Ali pointed out that persons that are involved in the scam can come forward and give information. He assured that such persons would be granted amnesty, but noted that if persons do not come forward, they can face the full brunt of the law.
Our internal system will catch every single crook. I guarantee you that. So if you give the information, then you have amnesty. We just need information now.
The Guyana Police Force has since been called in to investigate the scam. It is unclear whether there have been any arrests thus far. For the Evening News, Jumo Paul.
The Guyana Water Incorporated, GWI, said that the Inter-American Development Bank funded $12.3 million Linden Water Supply Rehabilitation Program is progressing as planned. This was observed during a tour of the civil works by GWI's Chief Executive Officer, Sheikh Baksh, the GWI said in a statement. It was observed that the major structures of the Amelia's Ward water treatment plant are 90% complete, including the construction of 7 tanks and a high-capacity reservoir, which is capable of producing 57 liters per second of water. Civil works for the construction of the Wizrock water treatment plant are also 90% complete, including booster stations and the installation of transmission mains. The reservoir, which is capable of holding 3,500 cubic meters of water, is at 60% completion. Additional works, including the installation of electromechanical components and pipeline installation, are currently being executed at both water treatment facilities. Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy says, unlike popular belief, government has not abandoned the Grow More Food campaign, but has instead sought to have it re-engineered. Alexis Rodney tells us more.
The Grow More Food campaign was first launched in 2008 under the stewardship of the then Agriculture Minister Robert Prasad. Because of the changing economic situation and the rising food prices, the objective of the campaign at that time was to encourage locals to help sustain themselves by growing traditional foods that were sought after in the market.
It was meant for those who are selling in our markets to grow some more, not just more of a product, but a greater variety. And in addition to that, he was saying that for families who go to the market and you are not growing anything in your yard, grow some so that you reduce what you take out of your pocket.
While that objective has been realized somewhat, Minister Ramsamy said that the campaign will now take on a whole new dimension, with individuals being encouraged to continue growing food with the intention of monitoring and sustaining the economy. Another dimension of the new Grow More Food campaign is the hope of being able to produce feeds for stock. Ramsamy said that Guyana is now producing all the chicken it needs. The problem now, however, is that about 70% of the production cost is consumed in the feeds for those livestock. The importation of 40 tons of corn and soya used as feed for local stocks cost government some $30 million. The Grow More Food campaign seeks to meet those needs. Ramsamy related that Guyana has succeeded in this regard, announcing that the first crop of commercial soya, some 22.5 acres, will be harvested in a few days from now. Bishar Mohammed, Evening News.
If you have a news tip or news story you'd like our team to follow, message or WhatsApp us on telephone number 680-9630-600-3117 or 617-2867. You can also call the office on telephone numbers 231-0382, 226-2102, 223-7230 or 223-7231. More news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Juanita Simple, Aquino Luke, and Sonia Lynch were the top 3 awardees when the Guyana Defence Force awarded 60 bursaries valued $25,000 each to children who successfully completed the National Grade 6 examinations and gained places at secondary schools. The bursaries are being awarded each year to the children of officers, other ranks, and civilian employees of the force. In brief remarks at the award ceremony, Staff Officer 1 General 6 Lieutenant Colonel Julius Skeet congratulated the awardees and their parents for the hard work and dedication which has resulted in the success. He told the awardees that this was just the beginning and encouraged them to continue to be disciplined, focused, and determined to succeed. Your regional, international, and bridge reports are next. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the Evening News. In the region in Trinidad and Tobago, the opposition leader Dr. Keith Rowley on Friday rejected a $64.6 billion TNT national budget presented by the Coalition People's Partnership government earlier this week as an election gimmick, saying that the fiscal package underscores the greed, incompetence, and smartmanism of the government. Rowley, in his response to the fiscal package presented by Finance Minister Larry Hawaii on Monday, said the government had even gone as far as plagiarizing some of the measures outlined by the then People's National Movement government in 2005. Internationally, the parents of Reeva Steenkamp say justice was not served after South African athlete Oscar Pistorius was acquitted of murdering their daughter. June and Barry Steenkamp spoke of their disbelief that the court had believed Pistorius' version of the events. Judge Thokozile Masipa found him guilty of the lesser charge of culpable homicide, saying the state had failed to prove he intended to kill. Pistorius has been allowed bail ahead of sentencing on October 13. Now for a look at your bridge reports. The Damrar Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed from 5 hours on Saturday, September 13 for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed from 6 hours 25 on Saturday, September 13 for a period of 1.5 hours. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by MacWop. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. Pistorius found guilty of culpable homicide. Draft horse racing legislation presented to Sport Minister. Chandapal reflects on West Indies' fighting spirit and Courts 10K set for September 28. Of course, this podcast comes to the kind compliments of Mark Ward.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Brit.
Welcome back. Now for the details, we start off with some cricket news. The ace batsman Shivnarine Chanderpaul believes the West Indies' fighting spirit has been the hallmark of the team's longevity on the international scene. Chanderpaul, West Indies' most capped player with 157 matches, will spearhead the West Indies batting in the second test against Bangladesh starting tomorrow. Incidentally, it will be the West Indies' 500th test match since gaining test status in 1928. Here's what Chanderpaul said of the significance of the milestone.
Well, definitely, about our history, where we came from, all the things that happened in the past. We showed some videos of some of the stuff that went on in the past, how as West Indian you have to fight, and whenever you step out in the park, it's, you fight as hard as you can. We are those type of people that never give up. We will fight all the way, and that's the thing I've grew up with this team as a young fella. When I came into the team, seeing Ambrose, the likes of Ambrose, Walsh, Brian, manager who was Richie, is a captain, Courtney Walsh, all the greats that was in the team in the past. Desi, I even see Desi in the team too, and there was some before them, who was Fav and all the others before who I know of. I've seen them play also, and I got into the mixture of those guys, some of them that was still there when I got into the team. I know the toughness of the players from then, and the toughness we take out on the cricket field also, and the way we fight, the way we used to fight in the past. All these things. We never give up. We will fight all the way down to the bottom. And I remember games that people write us off, and we came back to win games like that was, and Curtly was there, and he helped us to win some games. Courtney Walsh also was there and helped us to win games when people write us off. And these are the guys that come out and bowl their heart out and win games for us. And I know, this is things like, as West Indian, people write us off, we like those challenge. Okay. And we pick ourselves up and we go out and fight hard.
Meanwhile, Chris Gayle has been ruled out of the second test against Bangladesh in St. Lucia after being given permission to deal with a personal matter by the West Indies Cricket Board. His place in the squad has been taken by Leon Johnson, the 27-year-old Guyana batsman who is uncapped at the test level but has played 3 ODIs. Gayle made 64 and 9 not out in the first test, which the West Indies won by 10 wickets and bowled 17 overs in the second innings to claiming 1 for 50. With the view of having the necessary legislation in place to support horse racing, the Guyana Horse Racing Authority on Thursday submitted a copy of the draft legislation to Sport Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. More in this report. A legal advisor to the GHRA, Rajendra Punai, prior to handing over the document, outlines that the draft legislation is a combination of the previous drafts put together by the late Marcel Crawford and the former GHRA President Cecil Kennard. Punai also mentions that sections of the Trinidad and Tobago Racing Authority's legislation and issues raised at the last GHRA meeting were considered in the draft document. Meanwhile, Sport Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, after receiving the document, said that every step is being looked at to facilitate the likelihood of the passage of the horse racing legislation, but there is a long process ahead in achieving that milestone.
We are very pleased that we've gotten this far, but there's a long process ahead of us too, because it's now a draft document. I think we have agreed also at our last meeting with the Guyana Horse Racing Authority that we will be having a stakeholders meeting now that we have a draft document, where we'll be releasing the document to the stakeholders and having a discussion with them to get whatever feedback they might want to give us. Once that exercise is completed, we'll make the adjustments if there are any to be made. And then we have our own parliamentary process of how we get maybe legislation to the parliament. So we'll have a discussion among the government MPs, then eventually it goes to cabinet for an approval, and then it's laid in parliament. So once we have our stakeholders on board and everybody else on board, I think it would make the process much more easy and much more straightforward.
The GHRA head Vic Udit expressed satisfaction that some progress is being made to have the sport properly regularized.
The longest road, as the minister says, is the road to the first step. And we've achieved that first step, and we need to keep building on it, keep the momentum going. Support of the press, the media, and support of these are also only representatives here with us. We have a unified body, we go forward, and we make it happen.
The legislation, once signed into law, will see the sport of kings being administered in a more effective manner, including legalized betting, improved facilities, and implementing strict safety measures for fans, which could see the sport developing to the extent of being a tourist attraction. Some international news now. The South African athlete Oscar Pistorius has been found guilty of culpable homicide after the judge found he killed his girlfriend by mistake. The judge said the athlete acted negligently when he fired shots through a toilet door, but in the belief that there was an intruder. She said the state had failed to prove he intended to kill Reeva Steenkamp. The judge allowed Pistorius to remain on bail ahead of sentencing, which is to take place on October 13. And finally, Courts Guyana Inc. on Friday launched its annual 10K road race, which is set for September 28. The event is being held to coincide with the entity's 21st anniversary, as we hear from Tristan Joseph.
The Mega Furniture Store will be handing out over $1.7 million to ensure the success of the event, with at least $1.2 million going towards cash and prizes for the winners. Marketing manager of the furniture store, Parnell Cummins, was happy with the way in which the race has progressed and is hoping that this year will be the biggest. President of the Athletics Association of Guyana, Aubrey Hudson, while happy that Courts is involved with sport, noted that the safety of the athletes on the roadways was already taken care of. Registration can be done at the Guyana Olympic Association in Kingston and will close on September 26th, 2 days before the event, which is scheduled to run off from 0600 hours in front of Courts Main Street branch.
And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by Marcorp. And that's a wrap as well on the evening news for today, Friday, September 12, 2014. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in George and Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unikeri, Suriname. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.